morning to you. Whether you're tossing dice, flipping pages, stroking that brush, or mashing buttons, we got your six on all things gaming. My name is Loki, a.k.a. Michael Smith, and to my immediate, well, right in front of me,
I am the focused one, Eddie.
and we are looking forward to bringing you our very first episode of Basement Quest. If you guys saw recently, we gave you a 0 episode. Hopefully you went out there and watched it and shared it and loved it. We're trying to get on iTunes as fast as possible. So with our first episode ever, we're going to just get right into this for you guys.
The big debate.
The big debate.
Mono e mono.
We've been talking about this for about a year now, bringing out Basement Quest. And the first episode that we knew that we wanted to do was going to be the TSR system that you all know, Wizards of the Coast, D&D, as it's known on the streets, as your mom and dad used to tell you, the Devil's Game, versus Palladium.
The Palladium Fantasy RPG.
Which right now we truly believe is the only system that can rival D&D, TSR. We do have a couple ones out there, and we do apologize for you that are using the Delta Green system. We are interested. We are looking into it. Ed also has Dead Rain, which...
Yeah, it's a Palladium game.
Which is also
a similar
Palladium.
system, but we're going to focus on the fantasy right now.
But right now we're focusing exactly on that fantasy aspect and what we truly believe is the biggest thing to go up against the juggernaut known as D&D.
Yes.
So we're going to break down. First one for you is going to be settings, where it is, and the lore about. And as you know, I'll open it up. D&D has a lot of settings that you can choose from. I recently just started a campaign with a Dark Sun feel setting, which is a desert, no magic type of land. You have Ravenloft, which is horror. You have Greyhawk, which is your basic Knights of the Round, your fantasy, which I think I'm going to focus on when it comes to the discussion of D&D because everything associates around Greyhawk. Dragonlance, which if you all know about these novels, fantastic novels where dragons are pretty much the most powerful beings in the world. You have the spin-offs like Rifts and a couple of the other smaller worlds out there. But like I said, I'm going to focus more on the Greyhawk aspect, which is your King Arthur, your beautiful settings, your mountains, your Lord of the Rings type settings, where you have multiple gods. You have plenty of deities, sub-deities, your Hercules, your sons of gods. It's just a beautiful, magical place to be a part of.
Well, Palladium is a contained system, gives you pretty much everything you need. So the lore is like this. The old ones, which are these great unstoppable beings, created these Lee lines of power, or as most of you probably are familiar with, rifts.
Right.
These giant rifts of power, and almost completely decimated the entire universe. They were able to be beaten back, and because of the power and magic released onto the world, that's how you get all the different races in the background. And the coolest thing with Palladium, whereas with Wizards of the Coast, has different supplemental worlds.
And this is why they are.
Right. And Palladium is basically one contained world. Like, you have the map, and there's different areas. The thing is, if you look at the different areas, they're very similar or have a lot of characteristics of the same settings that Dungeons and Dragons would have, except it's in one world. So you walk over to the next country, and it's an entirely different culture. They list the different sub-races, who dominates. And there's also areas that no people go to, like the Land of the Damned. No people like to go there. There's oceans. A lot more attention is paid to fighting sail.
Right.
So there's pirates. There's just naval, if you call them a naval fleet for royalty and things like that. There's a lot of mystery, though, with the lore. Until later books, they don't really get into the older ones, and then they list who they actually are. But they're not somebody that you would necessarily bring into your game unless you're thinking of going completely riff-centric with your game, which you can. That's the
absolutely
beauty
and
of the rules.
And there is riffs also in D&D, the same idea where anything goes and anything happens. So absolutely, I can definitely see that without a doubt. And it seems like both worlds, we're going to have to kind of say, both worlds are aesthetic in that aspect. They want you to make the world yours, essentially, but they're giving you a blueprint of how everything can be set out and how it needs to go. I really don't see any other way you can do a fantasy setting without having every aspects that we hit on. You can't, you have to have a mysterious world. You have to have a land of the damned. You have to have places where, like it's all desert and it takes real adventurers to go across there. You need lands of mystery. You need solid, enormous empires, cities, powerful areas, places where mountains and gods and everything can come from. So I don't see either one of these being better than the other in the aspect of the world itself, the lore itself. I do like how Palladium does make it simple, yet kind of very, very rich in story. Whereas D&D, they turn around and they say, look, here, if you want to be in this world, here's how it's set up. If you want to be in this world, here's how it's set up. And if you want to be in this world, here's how it's set up. So TSR has been doing this for a long time. So when they first came out and did it, it was just, I don't even think they even had a name for Greyhawk. I think it was just...
Well, Greyhawk was the first.
Right.
So that was Gary Gygax's first setting.
But I'm saying, yeah, right.
Yeah, it's if you look at the first books, Greyhawk is referenced a lot.
Exactly. So Greyhawk would be your starting world. But from there, they knew they had more. Whereas Palladium coming into it, they had a blueprint set a long time ago by a company that just kept throwing shit at you.
Yeah, the creator had a land in mind. It was, probably his own personal land to use when he was doing whatever adventures.
Exactly.
And he kind of expanded on that. If you have just the first book, if you start and you can start playing with just the first book.
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons, not so much.
Yes.
Which is where one advantage I think Palladium has. They give you a complete game in one book.
I do remember that. They actually give you an adventure at the end of it, right? Or something like that?
I can't remember.
I think it's like a mini adventure.
But they give you a hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, it's something. Yeah, it's something all set up. They got the monsters and everything.
One thing I love about them is they're really famous for giving you what they call hook, line, and sinkers. Like here's how you start. This is the peak. This is the conclusion of the game, and then you kind of fill in the gaps.
We'll be hitting that one on the 3rd.
Yeah, we'll definitely hit that up. But so just touching on the setting of the world, if you just have the first book, it gives you brief descriptions of every point of interest. And you can just go from there. You can make up your own thing and just go from there. It just gives you an idea of the different areas and then the different monsters where they will live. Like it's mostly ogres here, or mostly this here.
Yeah.
And you could go just based on that. You don't even need a monster manual. There's plenty of monsters in the first book that you could go.
I do remember that. Yeah, just in the actual rule books itself.
Exactly.
Just starts you off.
So, like I said, that's one advantage I'm gonna argue that Palladium has over Dungeons and Dragons is you can't start without, you need a player's guide, you need a dungeon master's guide, and you need a monster manual.
Absolutely. No, you do need all these things.
You're already investing in three very expensive
books.
I
will say, they have recently come out on Amazon, and a lot of us hardcore gamers, and I am going to take a shot at it because you hardcore gamers do have a good point. It's called the starter pack, and it is essentially it's D&D's welcome. It's TSR's welcome to D&D world, and essentially that's what they did. They took the ideas of Palladium and they gave you everything. It's all in one book. It's how to start off. It's a mini Dungeon Master's Guide. It's a mini Player's Guide, and it's a mini Monsters Manual.
For you old schoolers, so there was the basic set, and then there was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons.
Right, exactly. Well, you didn't even get like it's not even the whole book. It's just enough to let you play this adventure like over and over and over again, and that's it. So
it's almost stripped down a little bit. So yeah, so it's like here you roll up something. Here's your stats. Here's your sword.
They literally give you characters,
but they don't start getting so hardcore into like the magical weapons and things like that.
So I do gotta agree with you because this little it's
a great starter set. Palladium doesn't have anything like that,
but they do. They don't need it because their rule book. Yeah, the first one
is kind of in there, but
and I think that's why TSR came out.
When we get into the next topic, I can touch on that a little bit more,
which is character creation and the mechanics of each game. So D&D, we've been making characters for D&D forever. We actually have a friend of ours, and I will call him out because he better be listening to the show. Rob was actually known for having characters ready to go.
Oh, my God.
And especially when it came to Palladium.
He was a character writing machine. Yes. Now, this is before all the tools were out. We're talking you had to sit down with the book, pen and paper, roll it up.
Oh, my God. Absolutely crazy. So D&D... You have your 6 stats. You have strength, you have constitution, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, and I know I just missed one.
Dexterity.
Dexterity, that's one I just missed.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then you have each one of those, you can only get to a certain level, and by bonuses and negatives. And both systems have, if you go to a certain, get past 18, you get plus to hits and pluses. So you have what's called superhumans. They're humans. They're not like, identifiable, like, but they're brick. Like Conan the Barbarian would be kind of a superhero. He'd be like strength, 19, dexterity probably of like a 20,
right,
something like that in D&D terms. And each one of these stats gives you, an ability or takes something away. If you're a mage, you want to be, more intelligent, more wise. If you're a thief, you want to be more dexterous. There's all kinds of different things that add to it. The mechanics of actual character creation going into it is very simple. D&D does break it down, and they always have been. The one thing I do got to say about D&D is they are character creation friendly. From the backgrounds to the dice rolling, they give you multiple ways of rolling your dice, first of all. And in D&D, DMs can do it. Like my personal favorite, give them 4 dice, re-roll the ones. They can only take the 3 best. You can only re-roll that once, though. The 1, if you get a 1 again, it's done. There's also, the 3. There's all kinds of different ways you can roll it, and there's no wrong way of doing it. The idea is, this has always been my idea. Like, some people like to do, like, an easy character or a basic character. And I always kind of felt like the whole idea of D&D and being adventurers are you're above and beyond. You're the best of your town, of your city, and people are telling you, go out, do something. Like, you're just going to waste away in this fucking city. You're better.
Not to say, to make the game more interesting, you could roll an absolute
absolutely.
If you want to be that total inept.
Absolutely. And you can. And
that becomes the hero on accident.
And that is cool. And to some people that is. But I kind of always felt like going forward, you want to make your best. But no, you're absolutely right. So character creation in this aspect.
For every Conan, there's a Rincewind.
You're right.
So
very good call. Very good call. So you're allowed to do either way, as you said, if you want to go with this. The backgrounds, like I said, very simple. They give you everything. Traits, they're all out there. The feats, the abilities, it's all, I want to say, cookie cutter. And this is the one fault that I will go on with D&D, is it's very cookie cutter. And unless you have a very in-depth imagination yourself and you kind of like work with your GM or maybe a little bit more, the backgrounds, they come up a lot. What we call the emo, you know what I'm saying? The edgelord, the reckless thief,
mm-hmm.
What do you want to? The retributing paladin. It's just the stories are constantly redone because people are just flipping through the pages and they're finding that. So that's the one fault I got to say there. But go ahead with your character creation, which is a long process.
Okay.
By the way,
fair enough. I will yield to that.
You're talking about 20 minutes to make a character in D&D now, and especially with the apps and stuff, it's probably even less than that.
Here's the one thing I'm going to yield on Palladium is Palladium is horrible about giving you free tools. They do actually have a new character sheet. It's an Excel spreadsheet you can get, which has made it a little bit easier. But obviously, Wizards of the Coast has free online tool. Like, I whipped up a character like right before we started, and I was ready to go.
Yeah.
So.
And he's still live. And he's still doing good. And he's still doing good.
Yeah. It makes it easy to update everything. So making a character in Palladium Fantasy can be a long process, and it's longer if you're a Magic user. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they do give you step-by-step thing. The only downside not really a downside, but a counter to the reroll one, there are specific rules for rolling up certain races in Palladium, so you can't really do that because some attributes don't have a 4d6, they actually have a 5d6.
Right, I do remember that.
So, I can't remember off the top of my head, but certain races are more inept at certain abilities than, or adept at certain abilities and then lacking in others.
They used to be big about that. Yeah. Not so much anymore, and I kind of miss that. In Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, you remember when you would actually take a halfling and it'd be -2 to strength?
Yes.
And like +2 to intelligence and stuff like that.
And you had wicked armor restrictions and stuff like that because they're small. So,
I missed that. I missed that.
Palladium Fantasy, obviously, well, they haven't revised it in a couple decades, but they're pretty focused on the race specific.
The
traits.
realism is there. The realism is there.
So And to some players, that can be a little discouraging, so especially if you roll like 5 2s. So it's a little discouraging. But one thing I like about character creation with all Palladium games, not necessarily the fantasy, but the system in general, is that's not the end-all, be-all. So you can improve your abilities through skills. That you choose, and that can up your pluses.
And not to call out Rob again, but he was the skill machine. This guy, he knew if he rolled something bad in Palladium, he knew what skills to take.
Dude, should I just add every physical skill to you off the rip? I'll just write it on your sheet for you before I hand it to you. Yeah, you could. Well, here's with Palladium, you can make a very jacked character at the expense of their intelligence. Yes. That's the only downside.
Yes.
So yeah, you might have a +10 to strike. But a child can charm you.
Yeah, but you're as dumb as a bucket of gamer bathwater.
So the attributes they're similar but different. Intelligent, quote, mental endurance, mental affinity, speed, physical strength, they call it.
Yep.
Man, it's been a while since I rolled a character.
There's like 8 of them. There's 8
attributes.
Physical attraction. No, not physical attraction. Physical beauty.
Physical beauty.
Yeah, PB.
PB, physical beauty. We're not amateurs on this.
It's been a while since I actually rolled up one of those.
I know. What's up? I gave you stuff. Why didn't you roll the character, man?
I know.
Right.
Sorry.
Be the man you wish to be.
I know. I do. Like I said, but we've been trying to get these guys to fucking roll it up. But go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So, anyway, so yeah, you have the 8 attributes, and they determine initial bonuses. So they're initial bonuses when you roll them. So you get like certain pluses over 16, 17, 18 rolls get certain bonuses.
Yes.
One time, and then you can up some of your abilities through the skills that you choose. So if your character is lacking, because certain classes require certain attributes to be a certain number, which I really like.
Yeah, because if you're going to be a goddamn computer specialist and you got an intelligence of 8, how's that really going to work out for you?
And if you really, really want to be that technology-centric character, and
you need to have those certain...
It's like, oh, what do I do? It's like, well, go to the education skills, pick the ones you want, get that number up. Yeah. Now you qualify to be that character class.
Right. And it is...
or you can beg and whine, and I'll let you re-roll it.
It is pretty cool. No, I hate that. And that leads right back to the whole, starting off with a handicap, starting off with a character that isn't all that it's cracked up to be right now. But when you do bring it to that level, when it does become that...
When you build it yourself,
it's
right. This one thing I love about the Palladium system, it's more real. It's like, well, I only have an IQ of this. How can I be this? I'm like, well, when you're young, that's all you ever wanted to do, and you spend all those years educating yourself or doing whatever, and you built yourself to that. There you go. I gave you part of your backstory already. Yeah, I'm taking XP from you.
Yeah, thank you very much. That and the other thing that you guys have that we don't have is the SDC. And the hit points.
Right.
I've always loved that.
So
I always have.
Structural damage capacity is basically how many times you can get hit before you break the skin. We'll use it that way, or cause damage.
Start mega bleeding.
If you've ever gotten to a scrap in high school or something, there's so many punches you can take and shake it off before you actually start bruising and feeling damage. So if you look at SDC that way,
breaking bones,
hit points is your actual life force. So you get to a certain point. So if you have a character with 30 SDC and he wears you down to 0, now every time you're getting hit, you're actually being damaged.
Right.
And so you're closer and closer to death.
And also, if I'm not mistaken, armor gives you... It's like armor damage capacity or mega DC or something like that.
Well, that's for like rifts.
Well, that's for rifts and other
big,
stuff.
Big machines.
But the other ones, like in armor, has not just the class, but it also has a structure capacity as well.
What it does is so everybody has an armor class of 4. So if you are buck naked, you have an armor class of 4.
Right.
Okay. Which basically means any roll. We just get into combat with this, but basically any roll under a 4 is a fail.
Right.
Okay, because you might have hit him. That's one thing I like about Palladium. Yeah, you might have hit him, but it didn't do any damage.
Right.
It kind of tink.
Yeah.
So
went off his naked chest.
Armor adds to your armor rating in the specific armor from like chainmail or a bulletproof
Same
vest.
thing exactly. D&D. Right. You start off with a certain amount, and as you increase the items, boom.
Any roll under that armor rating is a failed roll, not
and
necessarily a miss.
Doing the damage. Right, exactly. But if you do it over, it's going to start doing the damage, and then you start taking
damage to your armor first, then your base SDC, then your base hit points. And then when you're 0, you do the infamous roll versus death.
Right. And
Which we'll get into more in combat. But
exactly.
On the character creation, just to wrap it up, one thing I love about the Palladium system versus Dungeons & Dragons is the weapon proficiency system. I've always loved that. The concept that you can use anything you want, you're just not going to get a plus for it.
Right, exactly. And the system itself, the weapon system itself, is simple. D&D's combat weapon system is not.
Right.
If you want to be a fighter, you had better take things to make you a fighter. It's that simple. If you want to be, like, say, a range, or let's say a mage, but you kind of want to do some sword play, almost like a sword mage. They're not really out there anymore. They used to be. You actually played one.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, I think it was 4th edition, right? Yeah, it was 5th edition.
Yeah, because it was a supplement on, I think the not Grey Hawk. One of the supplements for one of the other worlds.
But the same idea.
You let me bring it in. It was awesome.
Right. So you can still do magic stuff, but you have the sword. And unless you have that class, you really can't do that in D&D because D&D kind of shuns on a wizard picking up a sword and going ape shit on it. And if it does, you're wasting a couple levels of feats. You know what I'm saying? Like in D&D, when you go up levels, that's when you unlock feats, and that's when you unlock certain things. So you'd essentially have to be giving up extra spells to make sure that wizard has a sword. You know what I'm saying? But in Palladium, it's not like that. You can do that, well, as long as it's within the class of the wizard. If the wizard straight up says you can't use swords, you can't use swords.
Well, there's some weapon proficiencies you're not allowed to have.
Right. But for the most part, if you want to, it's a lot easier.
If I recall, sometimes other classes will require you give up 2 skill slots for certain ones.
Something like that, I remember, So it's a little easier, I feel like, to make something your own in Palladium. And D&D is very, like I said, it's cookie cutter. You have to follow a certain thing. Yes, Palladium does take a long time, but I really feel like you get a better character out of it.
Which leads us to multi-class.
Yes.
Who multi-class better? I'm going to argue Palladium does, only because
I still don't think they have multi-class down, and especially now with 6th edition. It's 6th edition, right? 5th. With 5e. With 5e, it's a nightmare. Because now players are getting, and it's not no fault of your own. Somebody figured this shit out, and y'all, if you just take one level in, say, cleric, right? You have I think it's like the heal wounds, and then you can just go to thief for the rest of forever. Now in D&D, you can have a thief that cures wounds just because he took that level 1, or this is the other better one. Say you want to take a level 1 in fighter and then go on to being a mage. Now you have that level 1 in fighter. You have a mage that can use a sword, and he gets the bonus because you get the bonus of the first thing being a fighter. And you get to use 2 weapons, or you get 2 attacks, or some shit like that. So people have figured out how to multi-class into this in a really cheesy way, and I think it's a fault of TSR. And once again, that's another negative shot on them. And I've actually had to tell a couple of my own players watching this, and you'll know exactly which ones I'm talking about. No, you're being cheesy. Stop. Like, and you do. And it's not no fault of their own because TSR made this. They made this mistake. So, yes, I have to agree with you. Palladium's multiplayer is hands down.
Well, it's simple. So, you start out as there's different fighter classes and such. So, let's say you start out as a level 1 swashbuckler, which is a character class. Mm-hmm. Level 1 swashbuckler, and you decide you're going to be a wizard. Basically, you're now, let's say you're a level 5 swashbuckler, but you're now a level 1 wizard, and your skills for swashbuckler are no longer progressing as you play the wizard. So very, very important. It will slow your leveling down. So Palladium actually discourage multi-classing, but they make it so easy to do.
Yeah.
And you just keep track of your skills, but you're gonna leave something behind.
Advanced Dungeons and Dragons do it really good. And ask Rob once again. Rob would do this fucking. He had a thief, cleric, wizard, rogue, cleric, wizard. There's a 3 fucking multi thing, but all he would have to do is take the XP and be like, okay, I'm going to put a certain amount to this, a certain amount to this, and a certain amount to this. If you didn't want the rogue to level up as fast as the other 2, you just didn't add the XP to those other 2, or to the rogue. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why they got rid of that. I don't know whatever happened to this, but the shit that they have now is trash. It's just trash. And I like I said, when you decide you want to put the swashbuckler, like you said, the swashbuckler on pause,
yes,
to go back and do that, they're letting you do that, but it's at a cost.
Yeah,
it's at a penalty.
At a cost.
Right, exactly. But they're also not saying you can't do this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They're not trying to limit you.
There's downsides to it. So if you decide to multi-class in Palladium and you're in the same group for as long like we are, you're going to be left behind.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. The abilities you'll be still fighting as like a 5th level character as their 10th with their 10th level abilities. And keep this in mind, people. We are talking 5th edition D&D. I am doing the latest one.
We'll reference some of the older ones,
and it's only because I missed them. Thaco's shit. Thaco is always going to be shit. Is the one thing I felt like advanced D&D just.
Thaco almost retired me. I could not stand it. I mean, it's similar, but I almost stopped playing over Thaco.
It's fucking horrible.
And the reason is, and I used to make this argument the whole time we're playing, like, this is so unrealistic.
You remember when Max literally made a fucking Thaco table? Like,
yeah.
And it was like, and it came in helpful.
Yeah, I did.
It really did. It was so sad that this thing came in, but oh God, that's.
I think now, actually, though, I think Wizards gives you a table, so
no.
It's like, they're probably listening in, like.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I really do.
No,
all right. So to wrap up, like we said, I think once again here, why don't you? I think we touched
on the lore.
Well, no, we got to give
multi-class.
We got to give Palladium the plus here, because I agree.
Right.
I agree with character creation. It's there. It's longer. It's a longer process, but you know what I like about a longer process is, well, not in everybody's case, but in my case, it puts a mortal fear on that character. You don't want that character to die. You know what I'm saying? Like, you put so much time into it that you just don't want it to die.
Especially with Palladium, because it's so time consuming. You do get you fight to keep that character alive.
You're not dying,
which makes a better player, in my opinion.
Right. And as much as I do got to agree with you, you had some bonuses here. I got to give it a tie here, because a lot of what Palladium has learned is because of the faults and failures of D&D. You know what I'm saying? They were able to come out with a rule book that has everything because they saw that 3 books sucks. You know what I'm saying? So let's make it easier for these people.
No one wants to start that way.
Exactly.
I mean, granted, they do have the starter sets, but you know, if you've been playing, you're like, oh, I really want to roll into the next edition.
Yes.
And it's like, wait a minute, I just, like 10 years ago, I just spent like $300 on books now.
Bingo.
You know, and we should mention, like, Palladium does the paperback type books, which makes them cheaper, so it's not that bad. And even though I will give D&D has beautiful books.
Oh, the covers lately are on point, dude.
Art.
Oh,
so Wizards puts a lot of money into their books. So
they do.
I'm not going to fault them. You do get
a
great product.
Yeah, if you put the books up, you have a nice little library or something like that. Yes, I got to agree with you there. They look fantastic. Yes. They do look great being up there.
Even on the older editions, you're more incentivized to
look classic.
Keep your books. Yeah.
They look classic.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I've actually, somebody took a pictures, and I literally, like, just from the background, I was like, dude, Fiend Folio.
I saw the what is it? What's it? That book and it was almost, the cover was almost cartoon. Demons and Demigods, I think it was.
Yes. Yeah. It's got the cauldron on the front or whatever. Yes, dude. I know exactly what you're talking about. Just like Fiend Folio. It's got that half mummy thing with the long face going, ooh, you know, like you just.
I love it. So I'll give Wizards the books. And,
iconic.
You know, but Palladium books are less expensive. So it kind of comes out in a walk. Although they have put out hardcover special editions that are nice. Palladium is really big of the black and white art, which, because I'm such a big fan of the old black and white comics, I that.
I think you know who helped with that also was Eastman and Laird. When Palladium took over Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they brought a lot of their art over, and I really kind of
some of their art is still in the Mutant books now because they don't have the TMNT license, but they have the
Ninjas and Super Spies, and then the Mutants.
Ninjas and Super Spies they weren't part of, but
it's all one
after
world,
the bomb.
I mean.
The after the bomb
books
are basically what they took the TMNT rules and rolled into a new game. Good on them.
Yeah,
and
because it was
you
a
can
good
still
system.
kind of play TMNT.
Yeah,
I mean, if you want to roll up the mutants and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But some of Eastman and Laird's old mutant art is still in that book. Kevin Long, who was a big artist, he wrote all the original Robotech stuff.
I was going to say the Robotech fucking art is fantastic.
Yeah,
I mean,
so yeah, shout out to those guys.
Yeah, the art is hands down either way in either book. It depends on what genre you take. I mean, you got to say.
I mean, obviously, but in Dungeons and Dragons' early days, they were all black and white photos. But now the full color paintings they're doing, I can't argue this is great art.
I know, they're fantastic. And we'll hit up real quick, number 3, we have world creation and NPCs. And this kind of goes with every world. D&D, a lot of it's already made for you. It's like we said, it's the bonus of TSR being around since the 70s, pretty much. Like, these guys, the lore's been out there. They've taken every god and every goddess from everything that you can think of, from Norse mythology to Egyptian to the Greeks. It's all out there. I mean, you just have a plethora of shit. Artists like R.L. Salvador, who just come out with like stories, these fantasy works about Dritz and the Dark Kingdoms, and then they just go off of that. So I mean, there's a plethora, and when I mean a plethora of just stuff that you can just grab from the D&D and make it your own. It's
you can really you can go from basic to epic in just a few adventures.
Exactly. So it's so easy to do. It's so easy to do. It's so easy to grab it. The NPCs, I mean, if you really want to wow somebody, if somebody reads a book or something, you can just throw that NPC in there for fun. Or you can make an NPC just completely round the character because they're missing something. Maybe these guys just, for some reason, wanted to make 4 fighters because they just wanted to. But you know that they're not going to live without a fucking healer. So as the DM, you hook them up and you give them a nice little NPC. I think D&D, when it comes to world creation, I've been doing it now for, 30 years. I don't think I've had a world that sucked. And I create every one of my own worlds. I literally, and this last one, Dark Sun, is one of my favorites that I've made. And it's just been... It's awesome when your people come across something that you made and they're just sitting there in awe at the same time. And D&D, I've always felt like anything, and good on them, because let's be honest, it's not like they're coming up with original ideas. These are gods and goddesses that have been around forever. Right. These are demons and mythology names that have been passed around for generations, and all they did was just pluck them out of each individual fucking, history.
Lately, I've noticed they've been more focused on taking some of their lesser-known creatures and stuff like that and pushing them to the forefront. Like mind flayers are a big thing. They've been around forever.
Yes.
But now they're like this invading, like almost
doppelgangers,
virus or whatever you want to call it.
Ghouls. Yeah. Ghouls are huge right now. I mean, and they used to be mindless, and now they actually have like a center brain.
Good on them, because for years I thought the monster aspect was starting to get very lacking. Yes. It's the same old thing, and you go in there. It's
orcs, goblins. Maybe some skeletons if you go down underground. But absolutely.
Now they're like these are some serious creatures.
The evolutions that have happened from, if you watched the Displacer Beast, for example, it was at first it was just a Black Panther with these tentacles, and now if you see you see this Displacer Beast now, it's this sleek 6-legged multi-tentacle creature with this the jaw thing that I love so much. That vampire thing goes on. It's just the thought that goes into these things now, man. It's just so incredible.
One thing where I'm going to make my case in Palladium with like NPCs or monsters, they give you random tables that you can throw something up real quick.
Yes,
on the fly.
D&D, like I said, they have that.
That's one thing I love. So you're in game, and let's say the NPC you're using is just not working how you hope. You could easily quickly go to the book. Or you have
murder hobos.
Right. You could quickly go into the book, randomly roll something up, throw them in there. And you know what? Throw in a MacGuffin or whatever.
You're right.
The game
You're right,
moving.
Because the only reason why I have that on my shield or my screen, my DM screen, is because I came up with the tables myself. And one of the tables that I have in the lower left-hand corner is random NPC names. And the reason why I came up with that is because sometimes when you're just sitting there going around and you just throw a random kid that runs across the street and your fucking players are like, "What's his name?" He's a fucking random kid that just ran across the street. What the fuck?
I'll freely admit that I'm admitting this to the world right now. I suck with the names. I really do. So the writing software I use, Scrivener, has a name generator. Mm-hmm. Now I have, for this Dead Rain game I've been planning, I have names for everybody ready to go.
See, that's fucking perfect. That's perfect.
So, yeah. NPCs, monsters, there's random tables for that. With Palladium, one thing I've always liked is you do have these exotic creatures and these races and stuff. And they're all set up as if they could be player characters, even though they're not.
Right.
But they give you the rules to like really flesh out. It's like, so you know what? Maybe I want to flesh out this one monster. So this one monster's been tormenting this town, and they give him a name because he's just murdering something. So it's like you need to go out.
Give him another extra ability.
Yeah, you need to
some
go
extra
out
strength.
and kill George, the
Yeah.
whatever. And, you know, so that's the one thing I really, really like. And they also have things like dinosaurs. They have dinosaurs in the game. So it's like
funny. It's funny because dinosaurs were. It used to be the monster manual a long
Yep.
time ago. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. They had a section dinosaurs, and you're right. Yeah. Recently, the dinosaurs has just been gone. Maybe you see a Velociraptor because they're cool and everybody loves them. That's it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
and Palladium does have a really good monster book, and
yeah, they do.
You know, I love dipping into.
And like
it.
I said,
But
once again, going into the SDCs,
the first core
and then
rule book has plenty of monsters for you to use to get started, and then as the deeper you want to go for like gods and stuff. The one thing I've always found funny about Palladium is like they have all these gods, but they're like, we don't recommend you do this. We don't recommend you do that. I'm like, well, what if I want them to encounter a god? And it's like, but here's the thing. One thing I've always found interesting, the gods are not the most powerful thing in Palladium.
It's usually the monsters.
It's the old ones. The old ones are more powerful, but the old ones are underground somewhere. I love how they put that. They're basically these titans.
I was gonna say they're part of the world.
Yeah,
they end up becoming just like you said, the Colossus of the Shadow. They're part of the fucking environment. So when they come up, they're wrecking cities and shit. They're literally raising.
And it's like in the book, there's an old one's book, and you read it, and it's like these can't be killed. I'm like, okay,
yeah, it's like a Terrask. You know what I'm saying? Like you need all this, and then you still need a wish to take one of these things down, and that's just down. It's not dead. That thing eventually comes back. You know. So yes, I do like that. But then leading right into it. We got gameplay mechanics. We're going to break down the tools, the story, equipment, and what was that last one we got right there?
Equipment breakdowns.
And the equipment breakdowns, yep. So the gameplay mechanics of both games is they both use the D20. A lot of them, we pretty much use the same damage for the system. You don't see much more than a D12 being rolled for damage.
Some weapons.
Some.
Depends on what it is.
I'm going to say I've never seen a D20 being rolled in D&D for a weapon.
No, not for what. That's the D20 is always your
your attack. That's what I'm saying. So a D12 I think is the highest I've ever seen rolled for damage in D&D. Right. And it's that's pretty much it. The mechanics of the game, I think they're both pretty much the same. It's broke down to very simple. It's you attack, it's your turn, you're allowed. Now the thing with 5th edition now is you have, and this is where things get confusing. And this is where things, if you don't know what's going on, you can get lost. So you have your movement, and that's where your character can move wherever it wants. Then you have your minor action, which is something that, like drawing another weapon, pulling something out, taking, I think a potion counts as a minor. Yeah, a potion is a minor action. Grabbing something from the ground real quick is a minor action. There's a whole list of things that count as a minor action. You have free action, which can be done at it's just pretty much talking, shouting. It's something that's, and like I said, gets confusing. There's a list of free actions. And then, of course, you have your last thing, which is your action, which you can do. And then you can have bonus actions after that. So you essentially have, in D&D, with your mechanics of your movement, you have movement. You have your free action if you want to take your free action. You have your lesser action, and then you have your main action. And then once again, if you have it, you can have a bonus action. That gets very, very confusing.
I was going to say, this is where I'm going to stop for a second. I'm going to stop for a second and say, fuck all that.
Yeah.
Palladium, you're in combat. You have a number of attacks. You break combat, you use an attack.
I love it.
Bottom line. So if you're going to take the potion, there's no minor, major, whatever. You're going to use a potion, you need to use an attack. The thing with combat in Palladium is it's not the same as where you get in there, use all your attacks, move on to the next person. You're engaged in combat with something, it goes back and forth. Mm-hmm. If you have more attacks than your opponent, you get extra attacks.
You actually the opponent has a parry if they want to take a parry, or they have a roll.
Which is automatic.
So they roll against each other, and that's the big thing about D&D. D&D is just a roll versus, so I'm just attacking you. The GM is attacking the player. It's
Well, we should
one
point
dice
out,
roll.
You're attacking me, so let's say you have 3 attacks, I have 2.
No, not in D&D.
Well, no, I'm just saying in Palladium. So you
Yes,
have 3 attacks,
yes.
I have 2.
Right.
Which means because of your skills and stuff, you kind of have an advantage. So I can attack twice, but
And
then
I
you
can
get
attack.
that extra third one in just because you have your skill level and you have an extra third one. Combat
Exactly.
is supposed to... Most people gripe about that, but I think that's the most
And once
realistic
again, we
part
have.
of the combat.
I think we got. Yeah, we'll roll combat
into
right
combat
into this.
too,
No, we'll
but-
just roll it right into this
Yeah,
because
it's true.
fuck
It's
it,
kind
you
of
know.
the same thing.
Yeah,
so.
we'll just keep it going.
Yeah, so you and parries are automatic.
Yes.
Now, the thing people tend to forget, and I've had arguments with players over this, you cannot parry a sword with your hands. You must dodge.
Yes.
That costs an attack. Unless you are one of the there's like rare combat proficiency that gives you an automatic dodge. You have to use an attack to dodge. So if you
Right.
roll a dodge, that's one of your attacks. So you're now down to 1 attack.
See now
Because you're talking about physically getting out of the way.
D&D 5th edition, I like this aspect. So say you're a sword player, a swashbuckler as it will, a defender, somebody that's really good with the sword, right? So instead of them having a parry, quote unquote parry, because keep in mind, whereas Palladium, we're rolling against each other. So
We're
I
rolling
roll,
against each other's skill level. if you
exactly,
think
but
about
we're
it.
still rolling against each other.
Yeah.
So I can roll a 17, but if you roll an 18, it don't fucking matter. That hit didn't go through. But as in D&D, all I need to do is beat you. That number that's on your table. You don't get no roll against me. You don't get anything like that. But how they fix that is if you are a swashbuckler, you have this thing called something defense, auto defense. So when I'm facing you and I'm attacking you and my character is face to face with you, your guy is so adept at parrying that it adds to your AC. So now your AC is, say, a 22. But because of your ability and because I'm facing you with a sword and I'm attacking you straight up, now your AC is a 26. You know what I'm saying? And that's for every attack, every time that somebody makes when they're facing you. If they're coming from the side or from the back, that doesn't count.
Right.
Because it's only a straight up thing. So I've always loved the Palladium rolling aspect, the combat aspect of it because of that. Because it's my role against your role. There is always a chance.
And it forces you to really utilize what your character
It's good at.
is
good at.
Because it's not because I've run into this all the time where in a more modern game where somebody is shot at and they just kind of sit there and they roll all right, person shooting at you, they roll an 18, the person just rolls and I'm like, what are you doing?
Right.
And he's like, I'm parrying. I'm like, what?
What are you even thinking about?
You can't parry a gun. how am I supposed to? I'm like, do you have like some kind of like bullet resistant shield or something on you? You can't parry a gun, and so then you must use the dodge. And it's like, oh, well, I'll lose an attack though. I'm like,
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's more realistic in that aspect.
It
So
is.
if you have two
It is.
guys using a sword, yes, automatic parry all day. When we did Ninjas and Super Spies, a lot of martial arts, parry all day.
Good times, yeah.
Automatic parry, a lot of automatic dodges actually with the martial arts. So that kicked it up a notch.
And
but
see,
we're in fantasy right now. So if you have a sword, you got to parry with a shield
And
or a
that's the other
sword.
thing with D&D. I feel like you get to a certain point in the you might even see it now when we're doing it now. The battles get beyond, say, round 6.
Yes.
Everybody's abilities are wiped out. You know what else gets wiped out? Your imagination. You're done. You're just like, I guess I attack. Okay, I attack.
Yeah, combat burnout.
Okay, I attack.
Yeah.
Exactly. Palladium, I always feel like every round is fresh. If you don't approach that round with a fresh idea, you're going to get overwhelmed. You're going to get taken down.
And it also puts you in a corner where it's like if you're exhausted of resources, like, well, you need to figure out how to get away.
Exactly.
So you need to make a decision for every attack.
Yes.
So again, referencing our friend Rob, who would create characters.
You're
like,
getting shout outs today,
I
bro.
he's not on. This is the closest he gets to social media. So it's like he'll be like loaded to the hilt, and sometimes you'd be like, "Dude, you have all this stuff. You can get out of here." You're like, "Look at your character, man. You got everything. You're a walking grocery store of weaponry." You know, so it's like it forces you to be creative with what you have.
It really does. Absolutely.
You know, so always preferred the Palladium combat system.
I got to agree with you on that one. Obviously, I kind of feel like, and the thing is, we haven't, some of the bigger ones that I've played on Palladium that I've absolutely loved, Ninjas and Super Spies. The first fantasy one we did, where
which I will freely admit sucks making characters.
Yes.
That takes a couple hours.
Dude, that is forever. That is forever.
You're talking. They don't just have skills; they have skill packages because you're a trained operative.
Yeah.
Unless
that's what I'm saying. It's well thought out. It is well thought out.
Which I would like to touch on skills too, real quick. So
Yeah.
Palladium separates their skill rolls and their combat and attack rolls.
And you actually have percentages.
Use of the percentiles.
Yes.
Which I love. So it makes it simple. And it also
With
always
D&D,
allows a failure.
You only get what we call a DC, and that's up to the DM, what the DC... And DC is difficulty check for those of you who are just starting the indie games. And like I said, we're not alienating you. Nobody's trying to smash and bash on you. Sometimes we speak like we just assume that we're just talking to gamers straight up too, because we've been doing this for so long. So that's my formal apology right now if I do sometimes don't dip out onto the whole terminologies that we...
Well, if you have any complaints, still thumb up, but then you can leave
but
it in
then
the
go ahead
comments.
And leave it. Hey,
leave it in the comments.
Yeah, exactly. You don't take care of us noobs. No, we got you. We got you.
Thumb
we love you.
Thumb us up because you want us to continue, and then
Yes,
you can bash us. At the bottom.
Exactly.
But yeah, I do love the aspect of, so you start with a certain percentage when you learn a skill, say 45%, and as you go up in level, it goes up and maxes out at 98.
Or you
because
can take skills to get
there's
them
always
bigger.
room for failure. So it never goes beyond 98. And again, it's set up in such a way that you could try anything, but then that's up to your discretion. It's like, so if somebody tries to do something they don't have a skill for, you could be like, all right, well, you got to beat 5%, which is really hard. So you've got like such a small chance of actually making that.
So you
and
got, as
you
a player,
can say,
as a player, you're like,
I'll try it. Then
okay.
they roll a 1, and it's like, the door unlocks, and you walk in, and it's like you can say that. Well, that's just the dumb luck.
Yeah, or you could say that's the same way of the mom lifting up the car to save the child from underneath. It's just
I love. Here's the thing with the skills in Palladium, they offer so much opportunity to do things with failed rolls.
Yes,
the way we play is a failed roll is not necessarily bad per se. It's just another way to move the story forward.
Right, exactly.
It's like, so if it's like you're trying to, it's like, oh, he's picking the lock into the demon's lair or whatever. Not only do you fail, but it makes such a loud kerchink when the pick breaks. It echoes down the cavern, and now these goblins are about to rush to the door.
Exactly.
They're going to bust the door open for you, but now you have to fight.
Now you have to fight it.
But fighting gives you more opportunity for XP, which is the true goal of the game, is the XP to build your character.
Building up your levels, exactly.
So equipment, we should touch on equipment.
Yeah,
So,
equipment I think is pretty much straightforward. In both games, it really breaks it down. If you carry this, you get this.
it gives you costs, so if you're buying it, it gives you
Right. And
keep in
this
mind,
is
these
where
are average costs. They're up to
Fifth
discretion.
edition, right? Exactly. Fifth
So-
edition. This is where you can get lost as a DM. There is no set stone. There is nothing in that book that tells you this magical item is worth this. You as a DM need to come up with a certain thing. And I'll tell you what, if this is your first time really taking on a world, it's a lot. It's a lot to take on, because then you're trying to hand out, your magic items and stuff at the end of the day, and your equipment and this, that, and the other thing, and your people want to get rid of maybe this one item, or they just want to buy this one item because they can't find it. And you mark it at, say, 500, but that thing really should be 5,000.
Yeah, so like the game you're running right now, which has been fantastic, by the way.
Thank you.
So magic is outlawed. So a magical weapon might be 5,000 gold piece. No, he's going to want 20.
Right,
20,000.
exactly.
So that's part of the game. It's like 20,000, but it says 5 in the book. I'm like, aha.
Right.
So
exactly.
again, it just adds to the story. So with Palladium,
But that's
thing.
also me knowing, you know what I'm saying? Wow, this magic system sucks.
So that's your game master tip right now. That's it.
This treasure system sucks. Like, I don't like how this is a level. This is like they have a common. I don't like the system. I'm not gonna lie. I'm totally bashing TSR's magic system right now, or the equipment magic system right now. I don't like it. I don't like how it's set up. I don't like how hard it is to
I've been
find
having
these
trouble
items.
with it. As far as just the specs and stuff, I've been having a little trouble with it.
I don't, exactly. I feel like they took a lot of the things and they kind of like made it simplified, but then at the same time, they kind of took a lot of things out and they put a lot of ridiculous things in. and I don't like the common, the rare, blah, 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 ultra rare. It feels like I'm playing a video game. It feels like I'm playing like Borderlands. Oh my God, a purple dropped. You know what I'm saying? You go running over there.
Part of me thinks that's their goal too,
Maybe,
because you gotta think they're losing players to the multiplayer online.
Oh God,
thing.
yeah.
You know, like some play. I think what happens is players get sick of looking for a group, and they don't want to run their own games. So the World of Warcrafts and stuff really draw them in.
Yeah,
so because it's laid out for them. Here's your quests.
Right,
and,
right,
you know,
right.
But yeah, that's with equipment. The Palladium, I love. One of the coolest things I always thought is they used to have that big picture with the spear sword. It's all lined up cool. and stuff.
And they would have all that things up.
The weapon compendium, which you can just have for a reference.
And I think the one thing that you guys did, wasn't it? You had structural damage for weapons too at some point, right? And
shields.
It was shields had
shields
that. That's
armor.
what it was. That's what it was. Shields and armor. D&D started trying to incorporate in that in their fourth edition. I'm sorry, in their fourth edition, they started trying to give like durability to shit, and it just didn't. It didn't work out as well. I ended up 86 in it. I didn't like it, and that was leading to the equipment durability.
It's tough for like wear and tear. How do you factor that in? I've always thought about it.
I hate it, man. I hate it in video games, and I hate it in D&D. I understand why it's there. It adds a sense of realism to it.
I think if you put it in perspective, so if you are a level 10 character still using the sword you had when you're level 1, it's not going to be as effective. So you can attribute that to wear and tear. Like, bro, the sword's had it.
Yeah.
I know you're hoarding the gold.
I can see that. Yeah.
It's time for you to open the purse and get a new one.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because eventually, so you're level 10, you're going to need a plus 2, 3 sword. You're going to start dealing with gelatinous cubes, which we have.
Oh, yeah.
And things like that. You're going to need a magical weapon at least. Now, magical weapons, you can make the argument they don't wear down. The only way to break them is to disenchant them.
Right.
Which, for that, you need alchemist? No.
It depends on which world.
I don't think a straight sorcerer can do it.
Probably a mage. I would have to look it up, but I would say a straight mage. It's always been as long as the person doing the spell, the disenchantment spell or the dispel magic, would have to be a higher level, number one, than the person doing it. So say if a level 12 wizard put that enchantment on that weapon, then a level 15 wizard could technically dispel that.
I'm making a note to myself. I never thought of killing a character's sword.
I know, right?
Like, dude, your sword is
so
dead.
It'd be like a difficulty rating. You know, I'd have to put like maybe a 15 on that, 5 for every level that you kind of are over. So
we inadvertently gave you another tip.
There you go.
Don't try to kill the character. Try to kill their sword.
Bingo.
It's like your singing sword sings no more.
Magic skills and what's the last thing we got?
Well, we have I don't know if I think we touched on combat.
I think we hit the hell out of that one.
Yeah, skills we touched on a little bit.
Yep.
You know, like I said, the percentils, I
and
love
the feats,
that.
Yeah, the feats we rolled in, but magic.
Feats, Palladium doesn't get too much into feats per se. It's got class specific.
Right. I think
skills
the feats for D&D was their answer to Palladium's skills.
Possibly.
Because D&D never had feats before. It wasn't until 4th edition that they started introducing these feats. And a feat is something like if an enemy comes in and attacks one of your buddies, you can throw a shield in the way. It's an interaction thing. A feat could also be just building up your strength, bodybuilding, anything like this.
Yeah, because with Palladium, so you pick a class, and it'll list some skills that you're a plus percentage on just for picking that class, so you could
and that's
conceivably consider them a feat.
That's exactly what I think.
So things that you excel at versus you're just good at.
Right.
So yeah, you could consider that a feat. Obviously, Magic users have spells and stuff.
And Magic, I feel 5th edition has drilled it. I like 5th edition D&D's Magic system.
I like it better.
Way better. They still can tweak it. They can still tweak it.
I don't think we do this too much, but they're still memorizing spells.
Well, it is. Because you got to remember, Jacob is a warlock.
Right.
So warlocks, their spells are part of them. And this is what I like. Summoners, the same thing. It's a part of them. They can use it anytime. Clerics, they don't have to memorize it. They have a certain amount they can do per day, and they use them. Once they're out, it's done. You know what I'm saying?
Pause.
They what was the other? So if you're a regular mage, like a regular wizard, you do. The night before, you have to choose what spells you are going to have set aside. And the reason why is because it is just that. You're reading out of a spell book. You're memorizing these things. They're not a part of you. You know what I'm saying? As a paladin, as a summoner, and as a cleric, these are abilities that come from you. When you're a mage, when you're a wizard, you're reading from a spell. You need components to make these things happen. It's not just vocal, it's items. And if you don't have these items, you can't make this shit happen. You know what I'm saying? Bringing somebody back with a wish is like, it's like 10,000 worth of diamonds or 10,000 gold, a diamond, and this other thing. That's just to make the spell happen. That's not even if the spell might not work. You know what I'm saying? But I like where they're going. It used to be everybody would have to measure out what their spells were and how they were going to fucking use it and blah, 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 blah. And it doesn't work like that anymore.
Yeah,
it depends on the class of how the rarity of the spell works.
In Palladium, overall, with their different systems and in Fantasy in particular, so they have, not only do you have like hit points, STC, you also have things like psychic energy levels, and other energy levels. Magic obviously comes from the entire, they call it the Megaverse. The entire Megaverse is ley lines. So whether you're playing Rifts, playing Fantasy, whatever, everybody has this. Even in Dead Rain, the zombies feed on those energy levels, and that's their motivation for eating you. Giving away stuff, but that's it's not necessarily consuming flesh. It's that energy.
The energy
comes from the Megaversal ley lines. So with Magic, you have a certain set number of points. Every spell costs points. Once you're depleted, there's no more magic going.
Right. And I like that. So, that almost has a Final Fantasy feel about it.
Right.
Where your magic bar is here, your health bar is here, and everything else is there. I like that. I do like that. But like I said, I like where D&D is now with the spells. It kind of almost feels like that. Not quite.
Yeah.
But it kind of almost feels like that.
Going back to like the way Palladium does their skills and combat and everything, it ensures that every player thinks about their move and tries to make every attack count.
Right.
Otherwise, if you're in a 5-on-1 situation and you're depleting your heavy hitting spells and you have no more energy and you don't have a weapon proficiency for this little sword you picked up,
right,
you're basically flailing at air and hoping you hit something.
Exactly.
You know? Which can be interesting.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, call psychosis.
And it's also why you should have a pretty diverse class
maybe
of
she's
characters.
born with it. Or maybe it's mental illness.
So, yeah, I mean, this is why it's important to have a diverse group of characters.
Yes.
I mean, granted, you can have a great game where it's like, oh, we want to be a bunch of soldiers and just
Cool.
walk around.
Yeah, absolutely. And that would make a really cool story. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I love how you said that. We'll make it work.
Yeah.
Because really, it's not going to work unless you guys are just carrying like.
If somebody actually said to me like, hey, we want to play a game where we're part of the Royal Guard or something, and we're
or maybe you just got lost.
Or whatever.
Maybe you just got lost. Maybe you were part of a bigger fucking armada, and your army just got wiped, and you're the only survivors. And now I'm
not gonna do a magic heavy thing because the goal is obviously not to kill the characters.
Right,
the goal is to make sure everybody has a good time.
I don't know. There are some DMs and GMs out there that are questionable.
Yeah, you're a jerk.
Yeah, you are, Steve.
Oh man,
I'm sorry.
The power of editing.
Yes,
but yeah, no. So like, you want to craft a game that everyone's gonna like. I think Palladium makes that easy. So I do
agree with that.
I'm not gonna put 5 wizards against 5 soldiers because chances are the wizards are gonna be able to mop the floor out of them while
if they're intelligent.
I mean, they can pull it off
if they're intelligent.
I'm saying it's not impossible.
Yeah.
But the wizard they're already blasting magic from a distance and there's a speed skill while you're trying to close the distance and be like, so there's certain advantages to the high ground or whatever.
Oh, absolutely.
And they could teleport. Or they could float, Rob.
Float.
When the going gets tough, we cast float, right, Rob? Anyway.
I think so. I think that's how it works. All right, so I think we picked up on that pretty good. Which we got? Because we're
going to talk about the use of.
We're getting pretty close here.
Getting close. So we wanted to talk about miniatures a little bit.
Yes, I like going into this because this goes right from the combat and into that. Miniature role playing has come a very long way, very long way. From AD&D, when I never once even thought that we'd ever
had
have
them. We never touched
them.
Yep.
Never touched them. It wasn't until 4th edition D&D that I really started using the mini system, and we started having the square, the classic fucking grid, and you have these actual tiles, which Wizards of the Coast did a great job with. They were inexpensive at the time. They were very good to have. I still use them to this day. Now I actually throw some 3D environments out there.
That's one
just
thing I'll give it up to Wizards. They have these things.
And they're very
Palladium
easy.
Fantasy, you gotta have to find your own, make your own, which is not a bad thing.
No.
But if you want something a little more ready to go,
But I mean, if you're not art inclined,
which
that
I'm
can
not.
be a handicap. You know
Which
what I'm
I'm
saying?
not.
So, right. So now you need to.
I have bought like PDFs and printed and like laminated.
And those ones you just picked up with the zombies and those that one was pretty cool, man. Very cool. And there's company, and we live in a time now. Let me just say that when we first started playing this, there was none of this.
There was no Amazon.
There was Walden Books. We would go to Walden Books and hope to God that they would have something new that we could, and then when it was, just like Ed said, it was that hard, oh my God, and we'd be freaking out, man. I never forget when Ravenloft came with that first box set. I was like, oh my God.
Actually, thank God for plastic, because they were all pewter. If you did want to use miniature, they were all pewter, and they were wicked expensive.
Holy shit.
Pewter is harder to paint on.
Yeah, it was. And it chipped. It chipped. If that fucking model dropped, forget it, dude. The fucking face would be all fucking off.
And if you stepped on it with your bare
bent
feet,
in half. Oh yeah, dude, just terrible.
I'm just talking about the pain that goes up through your leg.
But I was gonna say that too. But if you're wearing shoes, all of a sudden the base is bent back. The fucking it's toast.
Yeah. So.
I loved what miniatures did for me as a DM. It made my life so much easier. Here's old school AD&D. You walk into a 20 by 40 room. If you look to your left, you see a common door. Straight ahead of you is a double door with two lit lights on the side. You can see the wall is adorned with trophies of monsters' heads, as well as possibly human heads. To the right-hand side, you see a desk. I literally have to break down this room. And then from that, what happens, Ed?
You forget how you broke down the room, for one.
Or they turn around this. What's to the left again? A common door. What was straight again? The double door. Hey, where's that desk? It was to the right. And what was on the walls again? Trophies. They're pointless. Can I check out all the... Yeah. So you literally spent about an hour, and
one room,
and some people they won't give it up, right?
No,
exactly.
They want to search every mounted head.
Exactly.
Like, there's no diamonds in the eyes. There's no gold teeth. Is there a moose head? I'd love a moose head.
I extensionally searched the moose head. So what this does for me is this allows me to build this room. It's there. If there's any questions, they can look straight down there. Do I still get dumb questions to this day?
Oh,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Of course. You're going to get them.
But I love, not only that, when it comes to combat, there is no questions of whether you're flanking that monster or not.
Right.
Look down. You see you're flanking that monster. There is no question of, can I run and get behind that monster? We'll count out the squares. Can you? No. Well, there's your answer. Somebody is like Ed is really good at this on the table. Some other people, not so much. You could see him analyzing other people's moves, and he's deciding what he's going to be doing next, deciding on these people's moves. With it out there in front of you, you're able to watch this happen and watch this unfold.
Here's the thing, because I hate cherry picking. So
there's a couple good people with that, yeah.
You'll have all right, there's these monsters, there's us, I have a bow, I'm back here. And it's like,
which you can cherry pick, by the way.
So
I don't want to get shot. Rangers.
Well, I don't mean necessarily. I mean cherry pick in this way. So the Minotaur is beating down this thing. It's got down to its last 3 hit points. And I'm not the type to be like, oh well, I'll just kill that and grab the points for killing it.
I don't do that though. But yes, I understand what you're saying. But yes,
if you were a rules lawyer,
yes,
technically my kill, my points.
Right.
So who's in trouble? Okay, he's in trouble. Let's fire arrows over here. He needs an advantage. I'm not like a magic user or anything. I can't cast it, but I can give him some combat assistance.
Right.
Pew, pew, or whatever. So that's what I like. And the miniatures have made that easier. Whereas before. You might have had the graph paper and everyone's drawing little lines
You would have
on
to.
it.
You'd have to write out where your characters were. You would have to write out what was going on.
And it's easy too, like, because back in the old days, there was a lot of this, like, oh, he's in trouble, zoom. Oh, he's in trouble, zoom. Oh,
Yeah.
he's, and no.
And you look down.
Not realistic.
You just moved 25 squares. No, that's not happening.
It's like, is your name Barry Allen?
Yeah.
Because you're the Flash.
It really was, man.
So,
it was.
But no, the miniatures have made it so much easier. You almost need to now.
I agree. It saves me so much time.
It
I'm
saves
able
a lot
to get
of time.
so much more story and so much more action into it. I really can now. And I don't see my games not having minis ever again.
Well, that's why I said, like, it's like, well, I'm gonna do this campaign. I'm gonna have miniatures. That's why I got all the set up.
I know.
I want some. They're all paper miniatures, but it'll work. I got
it's
plenty
cool.
of tiles to set.
It's
the
cool.
scene.
Yeah, it's definitely cool.
And which I got a video coming out reviewing some products on that. You guys will like it. So yeah, the miniatures have been a godsend.
I
To the game.
I like them. I think
and especially thinking, we kind of mocked them back in the days, like, oh yeah, we play, but we're not like them.
yeah, exactly.
And then, fast forward, we've become them, and now we understand why.
And 40K later, that really
You know what? Yeah, I should say, like, playing the actual tactical strategy games, Warhammer 40K,
really brought me forward to the minis.
Because what's the first thing we said? We were playing Warhammer, and we're looking at it, and we would just be like, what if we added some RPG elements to this? Just how awesome would this game be?
A campaign, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
and it's like,
he's my hero, and blah blah blah. Yeah, exactly.
exactly. And so I think any system is like pretty mini centric.
And we got to be honest. If you guys haven't seen some of these TSR minis, they're pre-painted.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. They are beautiful, man. Like, you don't even have to put any time into these things now. So it's, whereas before they'd be silver, prime them, paint them, blah, blah, blah. And even like you said, the very simple ones where they're just cardboard, you put them on the things.
Palladium Fantasy has hundreds of paper miniatures.
The things
right
are
now.
out there to make your campaign that much better.
There's also, here's the thing too, talking on the paper minis. So if you're going to use paper minis, there's actually templates you can buy. So if you are artist centric, you can actually draw your little mini, set it up on the paper properly, print it out, laminate it, use the little plastic things I did, or there's like just little cheap plastic markers you can use.
Yep.
They make it so easy if you don't want to invest in all the plastic. So yeah, we're pro mini.
Absolutely.
Or if you want to kick it up a notch, you get a 3D printer and do your own.
Yeah, 3D printers have made everything so fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah, I think it's a tie there.
Yeah. You need it. You need it. At this day and age, if you're not using minis, you're missing out. There's another tip for you.
And terrain too makes it.
Yes, it really does. It helps.
Because one thing the games are always lacking is, like, is this tree blocking my view? I'm not sure. So
you know what? Let me roll on it.
Let me put that tree there. Like, yeah, the tree is going to make it harder to shoot. And you can make a call. The tree's making it hard for you to shoot. You can still do it. I'm going to say you have no plus, though.
Or you can say it's so difficult to shoot. If you choose not to shoot, that enemy won't see you over there because the tree is also obstructing their view.
Works both
so, yeah,
ways.
you can work it both ways. XP reward. I think we touched up on this pretty well, too. Same idea.
The Palladium breakdown goes like this. It actually has a list of things and what they think the XP should be.
Right.
So
if you do something magical.
Like solving a mission or, killing a monster.
And D&D's done that as well. Lately,
Saving
if you've seen the things. Right.
I can't remember. I've always found this interesting. Like, I thought it said sacrificing oneself for another player, and I always used to say, "What's the point at that point?"
Well, I don't think it's sacrificed death. I think it's when you literally
put yourself
in risk, or maybe even something as simple as risking one of your attacks just to help that person get out of the way. They've taken too much. Yeah. And even though you can't take this fight,
character and stuff. Right. Because it's one thing, like, I'm big on, I know you are. If you play outside of if you're like lawful good and you're like smacking little old ladies in the face and taking their money, I'm like, you're going to start taking XP away.
I do. Absolutely.
Like, dude.
And see, with me, my thing as a GM is I put the whole pool together and then I separate it amongst. So you're not just fucking yourself. You're fucking your party in my world when you do this to yourself. You know what I'm saying? So, and I prefer to do it that way because just like we touched on earlier, cherry picking. You kill that monster, your points. Well, when it goes into a pool,
it's kind of selfish if you break it down. It's like it doesn't help the group. So yeah, you need to make that call. Like, okay, good, you killed the monster, but the Minotaur already like beat him down like 90%. So.
Right. And then you really break that down, too. If you start letting that happen more, where he gets more XP at the end of it, now all of a sudden these people are like, why is he going up faster levels when all he does is cherry pick? So the XP, like I said, I like to do a big pool, and I like to separate it amongst. If you have 5 or 6 people playing, it gets separated 6 different ways.
I have a little spreadsheet, and like I'm gonna be like checking off things.
No, he does, and I will say Ed is very diligent about that. Like if you are a good player, you will get more XP than another person. Like I
check it off.
Yep.
As a because you get XP for pulling off a successful skill.
Yes.
So if you successfully pick locks, it's like 50 points. You know. And I will actually total that up. That's the only time I'm really a rules lawyer. And
I do. I like that because, like I said, there is a small little bit of pride when your name gets called out and you made 400 more XP than everybody else. It means that you did better. You stepped up more than everybody else, and that is a good feeling.
Because I'm pretty excited. So for the game I'm playing, I'm gonna kick up XP a notch. I'm gonna have the goal for the game.
Yep.
That everybody can get XP on. Every player is going to have a personal goal.
That's cool.
But the personal goal
makes it personal.
The personal goal is not going to be in one sitting, so it could be ongoing through the campaign until you eventually get it.
It's almost like
and I'm going to offer a big pot for it.
Right. So it's almost like how a lot of these games now they're doing missions.
Yeah.
And if you say one's worth 1 star, and it's as simple as say kill 10 enemies, and then one's that's worth 5 stars is kill a general, do this, do that, do that. It might not happen in one day. It might take you all week to do that. But when you do it, you're getting 5 stars. You know what I'm saying? So I like that. I like that.
Well, here's the thing. These are going to be deep character goals, like really, really deep.
And that's cool.
I don't want to get too much into them, but it's gonna be fantastic.
All right, so let's wrap up our closing arguments here because I think we're getting pretty close. I don't think we're going to be able to hit up that one some extra news this round, but the next episode I think.
Yeah, we'll shoot some news.
But no, we're hitting you guys up with some great information here. We really hope this helps you out. All right, so closing arguments for me. D&D, I always felt like it's a very simple system. Open up the books. Get inside of it, roll your characters. You have a character done in 20, 25 minutes. The DM, as he's waiting for you to roll up his characters, he can be setting up an adventure very quickly. There's so many modules available. D&D has been around for so long. There is so much available to you. You really, I mean, literally, if you can't find anything for your world, you haven't even opened up your phone and just put the words D&D on Google, and bam, you have everything at your disposal. It's the oldest, longest going RPG tabletop system out there. It's the most well known. All you have to do is say D&D and you got somebody's attention. And for the 20 die system, I have to say, as simple as it is, I still find myself as a DM getting lost in the overall complexity that truly is there when you look.
Well, Palladium system has always been my favorite. It's not, I won't call it a simple system, but it's the most realistic in my opinion from the character creation. I think the customization has always been so much better. You can really, really fine tune your character to you really bond with it. Mm-hmm. Because of that, I think people spend more time building the character story, keeping it alive. There's no throwaway characters in the game. Even the alignment system, I think, is so much better, whereas there's no such thing as really good and evil. It's all a spectrum. People are selfish or generous. You know, that's more realistic to me. The combat is more realistic to me. And I think that's more important to me. I need to really believe that what's going on is happening. And a lot of the things, like, obviously, D&D is the OG, but a lot of it, I just don't believe it would work that way. And that's my biggest complaint about it. The world, every book, it's one world where you don't have to transdimensional shift to get there. You just have to walk across the border. Right. But you have a book for it. So if you want a more horror-centric game, you have books for the Land of the Damned. If you want a more survivalist game, you have books for like the Western Empires and Eastern Territories and the most remote places. Or if you just want adventures in the high seas, all the rules are there. Every book that comes out gives you more character classes, so there's like limitless possibilities for building a character. I've just always enjoyed it. I just wish they came out with books quicker. That's the only downside.
Yes.
But, you know, I don't know. It's just the system that I think I've melded to best, and I think I work best with it. I've tried DMing Dungeons & Dragons before and just had trouble with it. But I don't know. It's just...
It is a hard system to DM.
Yeah.
I will say that. I will. As far as a player is concerned, it's very easy to get into it. It's very easy to lose yourself in it.
Yes.
As a DM, it can be very hard. It can be very frustrating. You can feel like overwhelmed at times. There's not definite answers in the DM's guide. There isn't. There's a lot. They leave a lot of questions.
Yes.
They leave a lot of questions that they kind of almost let you want to make up your mind. But if you're a first-time DM, you want answers. You want solid answers. You want the be-all, end-all. You know what I'm saying? You don't want this, well, it could go this way. No, I want to know. I need this. And I feel like Palladium, from a DM's or from a GM's point of view, from a player's point of view, like you said, is the most realistic feel you'll get out there. I really do.
I should throw this out. The Megaversal system in general, you could take your characters into a completely different game if something happens. So your fantasy bunch could be transported into Ninjas and Super Spies, and the rules are the same.
They're compatible. I have to make changes if I want to make shit go over.
Like I said, the Palladium game system hasn't been updated in a while. But if you I love the new combat system in Dead Rain. It's the same, but they've fine-tuned it in such a way. I'm going to use that if I do a fantasy game again.
Yes.
So that's one of the... You don't have to wait for an update in that game.
And that's
if they update the combat system in another game, it's so easy to transport over. With Wizard of the Coast, you got to wait for 6th edition.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. No, you're right. You're right. And not only that, you just turn around things. I mean, I was just thinking about that. You could literally have, say, a freaking Valkyrie come crashing down and a wizard fucking blast a fireball, and you have the structural damage to turn into mega damage to actually do damage to that fucking Valkyrie.
Yes.
So
in that aspect, conversion rules are so much easier from game to game.
It is. And I do got to say that. So long and short of it, me being a DM and me being the one person that has always DM'd, and like I said, the best meme ever is the one that you've shown me where it's Red Skull. I'm always bringing people to a treasure I can never possess because I never get the chance to actually play as a character. Everybody always threatens me that they're going to be the DM, and they never do. I get to play Palladium more. And as a player, I do enjoy the Palladium system better. I do. And that's just me, myself, and I. I was arguing on behalf of D&D because I am a DM.
Yes. We should point out we both love these games.
Absolutely.
I love Dungeons & Dragons.
Absolutely.
I'm not missing tomorrow's game.
I was going to say we're playing tomorrow, so you know. And you guys will be getting a couple pictures from that one too.
If I'm running a game, I do prefer Palladium.
And I got to agree with you there. I hope you guys go back on this, look back on this, and if you've never played Palladium, I hope this gets you to look into it a little bit. And if you're the opposite, maybe you're only a Palladium player and you're just like, I just never really, this is it. I hope this gives you the shot to kind of go out there and maybe check out D&D. And as always, I'm Michael Loki Smith.
I'm Eddie Focus.
And this is Basement Quest, and we're going to be coming at you each and every week, and we want you guys to share us, love us. Right now, you're going to find us on Anchor FM.
Right, we're anchor.fm/Basement Quest if you want to download the audio, or you can just subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the notification bell to be notified of new content.
And that's awesome because your phone goes right off. And then also go to basementquest.com. Sign on to the forums. We got all kinds of cool pictures on there. We got blogs going on. I'm going to be refixing my thing because I was an idiot and tried to be slick. But we'll get on that again. Guys, thank you all very much. We'll be seeing you for episode 2.